Today we have Florence from Port Brussels and Greg from Shayp. The idea is to present you the activities of Shayp, what they do. It's called IT for Green, and we're going to explain that one. And Greg worked with Port Brussels on a specific project with their solution, and I guess Florence will present that project or those projects. I don't know if there's multiple ones. So why do we do that? The Institute is there to try to promote good practices, share knowledge, and so on. And in that respect, we want to showcase some projects that are actually working toward those goals and active in sustainable IT. So that's the purpose today. It's really to share knowledge and expertise for this one. If you don't know about us, but I guess you already do, we are a group of 3 nonprofits active in sustainable IT, and we're based in France, Belgium, and Switzerland. And overall, we'll have more than 260 members across all type of organizations. So Florence with Port Brussels is a member, and you will see that you can find the logos at the bottom close to the left. So yeah, we'll work with public services, companies, universities, and so on. Thank you for the support of our members, actually, because we are able to function thanks to them. So thank you. When we speak about sustainable IT, there's 4 pillars: green IT, reducing the footprints of IT in itself, the laptops and so on. And then there's IT for green. It's when IT is used to reduce the footprints in other sectors. And that's actually the topic of today. Shayp is a solution for IT for green. And that's what we're going to speak about today. Then there's all the societal aspect, but that's not the subject of the webinar. That slide is to remind me not to forget to record the webinar, because most people want to get the replay. Sometimes it's frustrating because people tend to register, but they don't come and they watch the replay afterwards, but that's okay. As I said, we'll activate your microphone and cameras at the end of the session, so you will be able to ask questions to Greg and Florence. And that's about it for me. So Greg, the floor is yours. And I will stop share my screen.
Thanks, Jules. Let me share my screen. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. Well, welcome everybody. I'm Gregor de Hemtin. I'm one of the co-founders of Shayp. And I'm going to explain you a little bit how Shayp is making buildings more efficient. And in this case, we'll talk a bit about the Port of Brussels in particular as one of the projects that we've been equipping. So I also had a slide about turning off your microphone and camera, but I see this is all set already. So let me switch to the next. So, well, as a quick intro, I mean, Shayp is a B Corp organization. We are here founded in 2017, so it's been 7 years already. And we're active in several countries: France, Belgium, United Kingdom, Germany, also a little bit in Spain, also a little bit in Switzerland. But those are yet still pilots, and well, growing of course as a company with impact, which of course is immediately visible with the 13 billion liters of water saved since our launch. Actually, those 13 billion, just to represent this in a more tangible way, what does it represent, 13 billion? Well, it represents actually a swimming pool between Brussels and Barcelona of fresh distributed water. So it's a little bit like the Rhône, like this is a big river in France, but version fresh distributed water. That's the water that we avoided to be used thanks to Shayp, and we're pretty proud about that. We're also supported by several organizations. I mean, the World Economic Forum has nominated us as a top innovator. Solar Impulse Foundation is also labeling us as a efficient solution for climate challenges. We're part of the Smart City Galaxy, the European Water Tech Accelerator, and we also referenced on the UGAP. UGAP is a central purchase office, Centrale d'achat in French, for for public authorities in France. So if you're from France and you're looking for a solution, we can also go. We don't have to go through a public tender. We can also go directly through UGAP to explore partnerships. Quick word about myself. I'm a computer engineer by background. I did also business training, and an entrepreneur by mindset. I have built my career for 7 years in data in several industries. I worked for banking. I worked for telecom industry. I worked for the web industry. I worked for the pharma industry even. But always the consistent track was data, enabling data and making it more understandable for people to be basically more efficient in their work. So when I created Shayp, this was really my drive, is to say, okay, now I mean, water is definitely a challenge. I became a dad actually the same year, and I was like, yeah, I want to look at in the eyes of my son and say, look, I'm proud to say that I did something for the future of the planet. So this is how it all began, and this is how I joined Shayp. But what is the challenge that we are facing? I mean, water shortages will continue to grow, and you may have seen the last few years. I mean, each summer there are alerts about water scarcity and heat waves and things like that. Now, these days, actually 2 weeks ago, in Barcelona and Catalonia and Andalusia, there was alert to say, look, as from now, we have to be very conscious about the consumption of water at our citizens. Why? Because it hasn't been raining enough this winter. So this means that reserves will also lack this summer. And it's now the time to basically reduce the water or enforce some water usage reduction for people. So now they said, okay, no more than 200 liters per person per day. This means that, of course, if you have to fill in your pool, your swimming pool, you have a problem. So, of course, now they're trying to limit a little bit the usage and be very careful about this. So things are changing, and we need to know, of course, about this. We need to realize that this is just next door. I mean, this is just 2 hours flight from here, 1,000 kilometer. It can change. Of course, I understand you'll say, look, but this winter it has been raining a lot. And I tend to agree. We had a lot of rain, but the rain doesn't necessarily go in the reserves. If you have heavy rains, they go in the rivers and they go directly to the sea. So the reserves need also to be increasing capacity, and this is important. But now let's talk about buildings. Actually, 70% of the clean distributed water goes through usage in buildings. So this is distributed water through water utilities. And actually 1 out of 3 buildings is experiencing leaks or anomalies of usage as we speak. This represents on average over 20% of the water bill and the cost of people paying for this water, because it flows through your water meter. So this means that you will eventually pay the bill for that water that is consumed in your building. Yet you could optimize this and reduce this by 20%. So this is of course a concern, but you will say, okay, but why? I could save it probably myself by doing some optimization. But actually, what we observe is that 95% of anomalies remain unreported or undetected for a very long time. Why? Because either it's on the ground, it's in the walls, or you have like large buildings, and the people who see it, well, they do know how to report it, or they're not really aware about the process, and so they see they walk away. They have other priorities, and eventually those inefficiencies remain. That's one side of the thing. It's really about, okay, the cost of water that you will pay, but be aware as well that actually 2% of buildings are suffering from water damage. I mean, I'm talking about wet walls or other types of damages due to water leakages. So this is also damage that is usually covered by your property insurance, but this is one of the most frequent damage that happens in properties. Then the other challenge that you have is well, technical teams need to monitor, need to go over each building and check what is the situation, probably check the fittings, making sure that they're working well. This is a lot of work that is involved in the monitoring and the facility management of the buildings. And finally, ESG reporting has become a priority these days. Now we have EU taxonomy coming into play. We have the CSRD. We have all these kind of like fancy words to describe how to report on your ESG goals. Well, water has been included in these, so we need to be aware of what is going on with our water in order to be able to improve it. This is more to give you a bit of a perspective. I mean, what are we talking about when we talk about leaks or inefficiencies or anomalies? Well, on the left side, you see like this is just a bit more than a trickle. Like it's a continuous line of water. Well, this already represents, this is 5 liters per hour, and this already represents an additional person living next by you, taking a shower, going to the toilet, using the water for kitchen whole year round. 5 liters per hour. 25 liters per hour is typically the example of a dysfunctional toilet. I mean, it's not flushing all the time, but sometimes it's flushing and there is a little leak. 25 liters an hour, that's it. Well, that's 6 people in your home for a whole year. And the last one, like that's the really like the full speed flow. Well, that's the equivalent of a flush that, I mean, a water flush or a toilet that keeps running. That's the equivalent of 175 people just using your water. So this has a huge impact, of course, on your water bill eventually. And what are the main causes of water wastages in buildings? Well, actually, what we see most is water tanks. You know, you have, whether it's a small tank or a big tank, actually, a small tank could be a toilet, but a big tank could be rainwater storage or other kind of tanks that gather the water. Then you have the water softeners. I mean, in Brussels or in Belgium, we have quite a lot of buildings equipped with water softeners. Those are a bit of a trap in terms of water usage because they remain sometimes stuck and then they are dysfunctioning or they recharge too often. And so it's a lot of waste. And then pipe fitting, I mean, when it gets a bit down in terms of temperature and then we go below 0, that's the moment where suddenly, boom, 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 you have water leaks appearing, and this could also cause a lot of damages. But not only, I mean, sometimes those are also just pipe, burst pipe that are not necessarily caused to cold, but can be also caused to many other reasons. And today, I mean, if you don't have like a smart metering technology in place, how would you solve this? How would you look at the anomaly? Or would you even be able to identify there is an anomaly? Well, what are the ways to solve this? Well, typically the manual meter readings. So you would go every week or every day, depending on your resources, and check on the water meter. Take the index and make an Excel and make a graph and see how this is evolving. Probably if you see that this year's consumption or this month's consumption is the same as the before, you'll say, well, this is probably normal consumption. You may still not be aware that there is a problem, but okay, I mean, it's just repeating the same consumption. You can do night meter check. So this means that in the night you check your meter and it's supposed not to turn. I mean, at least if it's a regular building where people are not active during overnight, people are supposed to sleep. Normally there should be no consumption in your building or the building should be empty. Then you could also do an inventory of your water meters and have a look at how our buildings compare to each other and trying to get a sense of, okay, is there a problem there, yes or no? Or check when you get your water bill. That's the last option. Is when you have your water bill, suddenly you're like, oh, damn, I have a much bigger water bill than last year. Maybe I did have or I do have a problem. So those are the ways kind of to solve like a clear water analysis on your portfolio. Now, what I want to present you today is a step further, is how to identify building vulnerable to leaks and prioritize your efforts now with a smart approach. And what we've built at Shayp and what we think is probably the best way to solve this is to connect your water meters with and gather the data, your real-time consumption data, in order for you to be able to see what is your consumption. That's the start. How do we do this? We do the data acquisition. So whether you have smart meters or digital meters in place, as you can see at the bottom, then you have APIs where you can pull the data from. When you have just mechanical meter, then you can equip with our technology. You can just connect the data loggers directly on these meters and gather the data as well. So you make them digital in a way. I don't like to talk about smart meters because actually they have nothing smart. They just send the data. That's it. But then once you have that data, you can run the autonomous dynamic flow analytics or any other type of analytics on it and start to detect what is going on. With Shayp, what we do is we disaggregate. This is a complex word, but we disaggregate. So we look at the flow and we try to identify what are the things that happen behind this water consumption. So we have a real-time consumption of each building. And when we see an anomaly, we would send directly an alert to the management or the facility management team of the building in order for them to react as soon as possible and, of course, fix the problems easily. So this is the first reasons why we can save water and why we can have a direct impact to the end user. Moreover, we provide as well reports that would help you to compare one building to another, so that you can say, oh, well, actually, these buildings are repaired faster than these others. Maybe there is a reason behind. Or you can check where do you have more frequency anomalies, so you can rank them and efficiently have a look at them. Or you use these reports as well for ESG reporting at your company level. And of course, identify how to deploy your field technicians or your teams in a more prioritized way. So typically you would say, okay, well, I have an acceptance level for anomalies to be there. I mean, it could be, of course, if you have 300 or 400 buildings equipped with the technology, and you see, well, there are anomalies for, let's say, 10% of the buildings. Your technical team can probably not go everywhere at the same time. But prioritizing is important, and this is why you need to know what is going on in all these spaces and where do I need to go and fix it earlier. If you have a burst pipe, of course, you need to go there first. So basically, what are the different benefits that you can get from such a technology? Well, first of all, I mean, comparing to what you may have had before, which is an Excel sheet with just the meter readings, here you have it in a remote way. So you just directly have access to the data and be able to use that in a relevant way to forecast your water bills, to forecast your financials for your different resources. Secondly, it's about operational efficiency. Of course, if you have buildings scattered in a large area, like Port de Bruxelles, for instance, or others, well, you need to know where you dispatch your teams, what is the most urgent, so prioritizing the interventions. Then you have water efficiency reporting. I mean, this provides you as well the opportunity to apply for labels and building certifications such as BREEAM, Green Key, LEEDs, which require often that you would monitor your water consumption. Water damage prevention, I talked about that. I mean, water damage can be a consequence of a water leak and can cause either additional bill, but also a lot of hassle to monitor and to do the admin next to it. So by fixing it early, you prevent all the hassle that comes with it. And finally, I mean, by being aware of any type of overconsumption, well, you can make sure that you don't get any overbill. So basically, your water bills will remain stable. And I would even say with Shayp, you can even expect this to reduce, because now you will be informed with any type of anomaly immediately. This means that you will avoid and you can reduce on average by 21.8%. That's what we observe with our customers, your water consumption across your portfolio. So a few examples of customers that we've been working with. Région Grand Est, this is a region in France. We have 86 schools equipped there. But with a total of 328 buildings that have been equipped, that are municipal buildings, sport facilities, other types of buildings, and schools is part of it. Another example is Lidl. Those are more retail stores. More than 400 buildings equipped around the whole region, across the whole region. For them, of course, dispatching teams across the country is important. City of Brussels. I mean, we equipped the very famous mannequin piss fountain, so now we can say it's not leaking anymore. Actually, it used to be just an open system for 400 years until we decided to equip it, and we discovered that it was just going directly down the drain after the fountain. It was not a closed system, so thanks to that, now it's a closed system. But we also equip like the football stadium of King Baudouin. Right as we speak, we're in discussion to equip the football stadium of the PSG in France. We hope, of course, to have those renowned places as well equipped. But as you can see, we can equip small buildings and very big buildings. And today, 300 buildings are equipped in the city of Brussels. Then Port of Bruxelles as well. We have developed a partnership since 2022, and proudly helping them as well to supervise the building and the infrastructure. And then you see a few logos. There are many more. Maybe a quick overlook at the type of customers and the type of companies that we typically help, whether they are retail, transport, municipalities, education, industrial buildings, hospitals. I mean, typically all these large buildings, we can definitely be helped in order to optimize their water consumption and be more efficient. Yeah, so this is it about Shayp. We'll of course be able to answer a few questions after this presentation. Now I give the floor to Florence from Port de Bruxelles, who will present a little bit how they deal with their challenges and how Shayp is part of that. Okay.
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna share my presentation too. I hope it's gonna be. Oh, doesn't work. Sorry, I'm gonna try. Share. And can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So, and in presentation, if what mode it would be better here. No. Sorry for that. Should have tried before. Just that's the same every time. And presentation mode. Yes. I hope.
Perfect.
I've got a small movie. I hope it will be okay here. Just to present briefly the port. It's 3 minutes. Just can you hear?
Yeah, actually, it doesn't. We don't have the sound, but we'll have.
You do not have the sound here?
No, we don't. But we can see it.
Oh no, but without the sound, it's not so interesting. So I will just to send you with the presentation, and so you could you can maybe see it if you want during the after the presentation here. I'm sorry, it doesn't work at all. So I'll share again. And not the movie then. I'm gonna just go there. Yes, Florence de Brouwer. I'm working for the Port of Brussels. That's a public organization in the beating heart of Brussels. Actually, it's small inland port, but a maritime one. So that's important to understand what the port is, because as a maritime port, we can welcome in our infrastructure and the port area quite large vessels, and so import quite large and large volumes of material and products, and develop industrial activities in the port area even if it's quite urban context within the port is implemented. So we are fully yes.
Can you make it in full screen?
Yes, you do not have it in full screen. I have in front of me. Yes, okay. So it's there, là? You have it?
Yes.
Okay, you can see it. Okay. So I just precise that we are, and I insist on the fact that we are a public organization, because when we have a need for a solution, or we have a challenge to or target to obtain, we have to go through public procurement. So that's why when we realized that we had some difficulties with our water management, but the objective of water management mission are multiple, and I will explain why later. We pass through that public procurement just listing our needs. That's why we wanted actually to find solution, one integrated solution to deal with all the aspects of water management challenges, which are really different, a little bit different from every aspects that can be challenging other type of organizations, such as, just as you explained, stadium or city or schools. As a port, we have one specificity that we wanted to have solution for. So just to go back to the port, as you can see, you maybe know, the Brussels port is located on the axis between the huge port of Antwerp, which is a fully maritime one, and Charleroi. And we are connected to a large network of inland ports, as well as the Paris port. The port is located in the heart, and we manage the canal which cross all the Brussels region. We are the manager, the owner and the manager of the port area, which is 116 hectare large. We welcome around 300 companies that compose the port, clusters, and we created and we are linked with around 8 to 9,000 direct and indirect jobs. So we are a major actor of the logistics and the transport sector in Brussels. We got 3 major missions. We are a port operator. We are what we call a landland port, which is really specific. All the ports are not like that. Actually, we own the land within. We have our estates. So that means that we rent the port, the port area, to companies for fixed period, for companies and association, and sometimes individuals too, but for in one objectives, that's to help them to develop their economic activities in link with the transition and the economy of the region. We are also a waterway manager. We manage 3 mobile bridges, the 2 locks, which is the core business actually of the port. We also take care of the maintenance of the quay, the banks, of the buildings occupied by some companies also. And finally, we are providers of logistics services and urban distribution. We act as a logistic expert for the regions. We help to switch companies from road to water or more eco-friendly transport. We redeveloped the connection between the waterway and the rail. And in that context, we are the entrance for the importation of the massive and the biggest volumes of building materials, but also the oil products and agricultural products for all the regions. So the final consumers are in Brussels, and we managed to import the majority of building materials and soil for building and construction sector for all the regions. So saying that, in the companies, the port companies, is not large. We are around 130 employees in total. Majority of the employees are linked with our field employees working directly for the security of the port area and the management of the canal. In the organization, we developed now for 4 years a small eco team. I'm part of it. I'm more specifically in charge of climate and carbon transition of the port, but also of all the port area. That's mean that me and my colleague, we are all working to test and try. That's our test and learn methodology, to try to find tools, informations, obligations that we apply for the port itself. And when we are convinced that the tool can be useful, efficient regarding our missions and targets, we decided to make the promotion of it, or we are developing a contractual obligation for the port concessionaire through our contracts and agreement with the concessionaire. So for the Shayp tool is a good example of what we've done with it. So we first try the tool for our own meters and for our own services. And once we've been convinced that it was efficient, useful, ergonomic, that was one thing that we really wanted to have something simple to use by people that's not used to manage data or just going through user applications and so on. Once we've been convinced that Shayp was a good solution for us, we decided to include the use of the Shayp tool in our contract and agreements with our concessionaires too. So I think that the traditional use of Shayp tools by the port system and applied to the concessionaire, you just made the full presentation, and actually I totally agree with all the benefits that Shayp offers. We had in our own experience, we wanted to have solution to have a complete view of what we consume, the water that we consume, try to have solution to detect the misuse of water. Maybe one more specific problem with that we had in the past, and we wanted to have solution for, and that Shayp does really meet it. It was a problem of damages caused by undetected leaks in the soil. We had 10 years ago big damages on 2 major buildings caused by leaks that has been not detected during we suppose 2 to 3 years. So that the overbilling was not only due to the water bill, but also by the damages that we had to fix. Actually, one of the 2 buildings had to be just rebuilt from scratch because it was too damaged. So now we know that with Shayp, we have a protection for that situation. And I want to just finish by presenting our specific use of the Shayp tools that we developed, because as I said before, previously in my presentation, we are also manager of the canal, and in that case we have to monitor the quality of the water, the temperature of it. We do not do that by ourselves. We work and collaborate with Brussels administration for environment, but we are really concerned by problematic in link with the climate change, and you have to know that the canal of Brussels is not really deep, and so as soon as we have heat and we know that we're gonna have really particular difficulty with the heat during last summers, it has been quite difficult for us too. We need to find solution to reduce the climate change impact on the water, just to prevent fish mortality and biodiversity negative impact of the heat on the water canal. On the other hand, we have several industrial clients that use the water of canal for their own activities, such as the incinerator of Brussels that burns all the garbages of Brussels. They use the water of canal to just cool the electricity central that is I don't know, yeah, that works with the heat of the incinerator, and so they use the water of the they pump the water of the canal to cool that plant central, and reject the water which is a little more warmer than previously in the canal. We knew that that can have an impact, a direct impact on the temperature of the canal during the winter, and moreover during the summer. And now, thanks to the Shayp tools, we know exactly what are the volumes pumped and discharged in the water, in the canal, the volumes, the schedules, and the duration of that pumping and discharging. When we collect that data with the data of all the other industrial clients that we have, we know we can now have a global view on what could be maybe put into force to reduce maybe displace or just change a little bit the way to use and the time to use the water during those critical periods. So what we want now is to collect all that data and to use it for ourselves, but to connect that tool with the monitoring tools developed by the Administration for Environment of Brussels, to maybe develop one program to alert us about the risk of overmortality of fishery and of fish and the protection of biodiversity. And so Shayp tools can contribute to or future climate tools to prevent climate impact on the canal.